Welcome to Scott's Garden Tour. First up is my calendula flowers. They're supposed to have edible petals. And I have a few pots of parsley that are doing okay. And then borage flowers, they're edible blossoms. The cocoa bush beans are doing the best. They've got flowers and a few green beans. I tasted my first one this morning. It's pretty good. All my pole beans that I'm growing, cocoa or Scarlet Runner and Chocolate Runner and Scarlet Emperor, they're both drying up. I don't think they like the decomposing wood and the compost I picked, but for some reason the cocoa bush beans here are doing great. I don't know why this one doesn't have the same number of beans growing on it. I don't see any beans on this one. And I've got some Tavera bush beans. They've got flowers, but I don't see any beans growing on these yet. So there's all the rest of the bean plants. Got some more borage flowers that didn't do quite as well at my T-junction here on my soaker hose system. So I'm growing 3 tomatoes that are, I believe they're called honey drop cherry tomatoes. And, you know, they've got flowers, and trying to prune them before I go visit family in Maryland. And I didn't think that these dwarf tomato plants were gonna survive. They looked really bad, but the new growth on top looks pretty good. And there's a few tomatoes on this other one. There's a few, yeah, they're gonna be a little bit bigger if they survive. So I think they're doing okay. I tried to grow cilantro in with the tomatoes, and that worked pretty well. So this one's starting to go to flower, but it still tastes good. And so you see more examples of the honey drop cherry tomatoes. I'm really excited to taste these. They're taking a long time to, they've been on the vine for a while, and they're taking a long time to ripen up, so I don't know what to do about that. And I've interspersed some kale plants in between the tomatoes and the squash. So I'm growing delicata squash. I like the texture of the squash. I hope it turns out good. You can see I've got some young squash starting to grow. Lots of squash blossoms on the way. These borage plants are doing excellent. I'm really happy with how they turned out. They're yummy. They're really sweet. Something inside the center of the blossom is really sweet. And you can see the kale plants survived my cabbage worm attack. Here's the biggest squash I've got so far. And you know, down in here, they're heavy plants. I wish I would have filled up the containers a little fuller so that when they lean over, they're not leaning onto the edge of these fabric bags I used. But overall, the fabric bags are working out well. Hoping I'm gonna have lots of this Tuscan kale all summer long. I'm hoping, if they don't see any major new insect damage on these. See down in here, I've got, this is a blue Vates kale around the edge, and the dinosaur kale with lots of cabbage worm damage in the middle. And then I had a vision that these nasturtiums were going to be these massive plants with vines flowing over the edge of the container, and that didn't really pan out, but a couple of them did create blossoms, and I think they're really pretty. Nice bright orange. tiger lilies we got from our neighbors are finally done, but they were beautiful. And I think we're gonna have these oriental stargazers soon. This one looks really ready to burst. And this was my first crop of arugula and cilantro and spinach. I let some of it go to seed. I'm really excited to harvest these arugula seeds and cilantro seeds. It's been a fun year. I've been having a lot of fun in the garden.